Okay, here I am. I'm back. Just needed to tend to some things. Um, I'm really experimenting with the whole live video thing right now, and I have another window open that's logged in under it, not me, so that I want to see how I look to the world out there. I want to see where this video pops up and how it looks, sounds, and all of that. Sound, that. Did you hear that loop? Gotta mute. There we go. It's funny because if you've ever done these YouTube live recordings, the image that I see that's recording is mirror image. I don't know why that is. So up on double checking, I found out that it's broadcasted to you the right way, like you're seeing it correctly. This part of the car is on my right. The preview window is backwards. YouTube, why is that? Okay, so we'll continue on this drawing for a little more. When I was in 5th grade, a guy had a magazine. It was sort of like a comic book. I wish I could remember the name of it. I think it was called Cartoons or something like that. And a bunch of artists contributed to it, and they would draw these cool like spreads. They weren't always comic strips. Sometimes they were just like a spread of like some car, and like every artist was like a huge car enthusiast, and so they would draw these really cool hot rods and um, just all different kind of vehicles, and they would do them in these really cool cartoon styles and kind of funny subjects and things like that. And I just remember being kind of blown away by the art in that magazine. Like, if you tuned in last time, I was talking about how, as a kid, when I was in grade school, like I was kind of lauded as one of the good drawers in my class, and like it kind of got to my head, I think, and I sort of saw myself as a good drawer, and so then I probably neglected practice and like especially technique type practice because I'm a good drawer. I don't need that. I don't need how-to books or anything like that, which I still struggle with today. Like, I don't need a book to tell me how to draw horses. Like, I'll just go draw it or whatever. But really, I need to be more humble and realize, especially with the practice end of things, like I need to be practicing all the time. I need to practice every day. Like, I don't know if people realize that about artists, especially if you're not an artist. Like, they might just think it's something that born with and you always have, but really it's more like a muscle. And if you don't practice it, you will start to see your drawings sort of get worse and worse. And a lot of people just they don't realize, like a lot of people were very surprised to find out that I draw stuff from reference photos. They thought I just drew it out of my head, which it's cool that you thought that, but no way. I honestly don't know many artists who can just straight up draw like really detailed stuff out of their heads. That takes a lot of memory and a lot of practice. Especially like that one thing that you happen to be drawing, like you have to have practiced that to have the whole thing in your memory somewhere. So just about any time, unless I'm doodling, like you'll see me have a reference photo like this one here, because I can't think of what a gremlin looks like out of my head. And that, unless of course you're going to just make up a car or something like that. But even then, you have to have some things in your head from your memory, like what do tires look like, and how would it look in perspective. So if you ever feel like if you're ever trying to get better at drawing and someone makes you feel like you're a fraud because you're looking at reference, but don't don't feel like a fraud. I think almost all of us do it. All of us use reference. I've been listening to, I guess you'd call it a vlog by Will Terrell, not Farrell, Will Terrell. He's just an illustrator. I just happened across on YouTube, and he kind of tells his story. And he always does these like how-to drawing videos, and it's kind of where I got the idea for this actually. Like, and he talks the whole time, and he's just like talking about technique, talking about his life, all this kind of stuff. In one of his videos, he's talking about that idea of the reference photos, and he actually has really good advice, like use reference photos, but only to a point. Like, don't use them all the time because then you're not really strengthening your skill. So do it enough to get like kind of some tools in your brain, basically of what you've learned about how these things look. So if you're going to draw like a cartoon shark, like first draw a bunch of real sharks, like find out what a real shark looks like and draw it so you can remember how many fins it has and like what the shape is and all these different things. And then when you go to draw a cartoon, like your cartoon's going to look so much cooler because it's based on those real drawings you've done. And I've found that like my drawings, like the ones where I just try to draw stuff out of my head, if I was just to draw a shark right now out of my head, and then I would do one off of a reference photo. The reference photo one looks so much better because it's like it has like a structure, an underlying structure under it from that real photo that I can't pull that out of my head. It's so much more pleasing to the eye. Like one thing I've learned too in my art and even like in graphic design and stuff is like how important details are. And I kind of wish I had discovered not that because like I'm actually someone who struggles with details, especially when I've tried painting, like oil paints and stuff. I kind of like I don't know. I'm not very good with a brush, and so when it comes to small details, like my brush strokes aren't tight enough to get. You know, if I can do like a grill, like I have a painting of an old Ford pickup that I did, and I was doing the grill on it. And, like you really have to get those lines straight, and they're parallel. They're very close together. And this painting was really small too. So like, and I just don't like detail very much, but I found that like detail is really, really important. Like in graphic design, like even down to the pixel. Like, let's say you're like one time, for example, I was doing an Adobe Illustrator drawing of Jesus for this project, and I was tracing in Illustrator a photo. It was actually the Jim Caviezel Jesus from Passion, and the frame that I was using from the movie, his eyes were looking the wrong way for what we needed this project to be. And so like all I needed to do was go in and move the pupils in his eye like over so they're facing like looking the right way. And you could tell like if I moved one over and didn't move the one like within a pixel, you could tell something was off. And like in the end, the Illustrator drawing of him just didn't look right. It looked horrible. You could tell his eyes were all messed up. So like those little details mean a lot. And of course it is varying and different. Like, you know, if you're doing exaggerated drawings, you can get away with more or whatever. Or like I was saying in my last video on this, like this car, like right now, like if you compare it to the drawing, like you'll quickly start to see like, oh, your perspective's off a little bit. Like you didn't do this big enough or that. But I don't bank on people comparing it to the original photo. And so like right now, if I was really a perfectionist, I would erase all this lower part of the car and I would bring it out way down here. It's definitely like I didn't do that very well. But I'm not banking on anybody comparing this to the photo later ever. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick with it just for time's sake and because I don't want to. Kind of lazy sometimes. So that's one place you can sort of get away with like those minor details is when you're not going to be compared to something. And so that's why like it's way harder with human faces because everyone knows what a human face looks like. And so if you screw up things on any human face drawing, like if you don't get some proportions right, like it can be quickly seen. It can be like people can tell right away that you didn't get that right. So those details are really important. However, like if you're just drawing a face and it doesn't need to be a certain someone, then trying to capture that person's essence or whatever isn't as important. You could be way off, but if it still looks like a human face, no one's going to know. But if you are doing a portrait for someone, like a gift or something like that, then you have to get those details and you have to, or a caricature too, like you've got to capture that person or it's just pointless. I've been practicing on my caricatures because it's something I need a lot of practice in. I'll show you real quickly. I've been posting them on my Instagram, and really this is just to get me back in like a daily, like just daily sketching things because I've been bad at that lately. This guy here is, this is Phil Strout. He's like the head of the Vineyard USA, which is like the church network that I'm part of and that I work for. Phil Strout, and like you could see, like I tried, and like this, it just wasn't getting him. And then finally, this one I was pretty happy with. Like it still is kind of, I don't know, he's a little fatter than that. I mean, in real life, he's not that fat. And this was Chris Pratt. And this is something I found with caricatures too. Like sometimes, like that very first one, this is the first one I did. Like I feel like I nailed him more than when I tried more. Like some of these, like there's a feature or something about his eyes look more Chris Pratty there than they do on some of these. But I went ahead and posted that one because I felt like it probably captured him the most. And again, these are just really quick pencils. Like I'm not finalizing them. I could do a lot more to make these really nice caricatures, but these are just daily lunchtime practice. I probably take 15 minutes. And then I was working on myself. Like if you've seen my channel, that was the one I chose to be my self caricature. And I was debating whether I should do this one that's closer to a realistic interpretation or this one, which is just really cartoony, which actually probably represents my style more. My wife was like, you should do that one because it's more like your style. But I was like, I think I want to do like the more realish-ish one. And then I did Tim Allen, and you see like this one just, no, does not look like him at all. And then it's more of a current Tim Allen because it's not really the home improvement version. And I thought that one kind of really captured him, but then one of my coworkers came in and was looking at it. And he's like, that doesn't look like Tim at all. It's funny how like mean people can be. Like I think a lot of times people don't realize how just like slamming your artwork feels to an artist. Like it's like they feel like you screwed up on purpose. Like especially with caricatures, it's so funny. I think I used to be like this too. Like that doesn't look like him. You got his eyes all wrong and this and that. And you don't realize, like, I tried. Try it yourself. If you've never done a caricature and realize how hard it is to capture someone, My next day I was doing Nick Offerman, and like he's kind of gone through a lot of changes, like from the time he was Ron Swanson on Parks and Rec to like what he is now. Now he's got this huge beard, and like kind of like sometimes too with caricatures, like you find yourself like accidentally making them way too realistic, and then you're going, oh yeah, this was supposed to be a caricature, not like a realistic drawing. And so like it's this one I thought was too much of a real representation. So then I looked up pictures of him as Ron Swanson, and then I was like, okay, this is more fun because he's more of a character back then. And still, like, I mean, again, my final one that I chose, this is the one I posted on Instagram. It wasn't just, I could still work on this a lot. And this is what I'm finding too about caricatures. Like, man, those guys that sit on the street at festivals and in Las Vegas and stuff. Like, I gotta give a hand to those guys, because you can see every time I'm trying like 3 or 4 times before I'm happy. This one's supposed to be Chip Gaines. It doesn't look these are horrible. Like, I'm almost embarrassed to even show these. Like, looks like some redneck hee haw or something. But and I did a couple more here. Then this one I was decently happy with. It kind of gets in, but I don't know. It's hard. Caricatures are hard. I have a friend, Haven Art Quest. He used to live here where I live, but now he's in like he's going back and forth from New York and LA, and like he's been doing like celebrities in person. He just did Nick Lachey the other day, and like he's standing there right next to Nick Lachey, like, hey, this is my caricature. His are super good, but he does them all the time in practice. Like, any artist who's worth anything will tell you that's how you get anywhere. And then like another thing with caricatures, like when I did this one, this is a friend of mine, Zach, because he saw my caricatures on Instagram. And he's like, do me. And I'm like, all right. And I nailed him the very first try. Like I just sketched that out there, and I was like, that is Zach, man. I'm not even going to touch that one. And then the very next day I was trying to do Kirk Cameron. And that's the hard thing about celebrities too. Like there's a look that they had in their heyday. So Kirk Cameron's probably growing pains. Like his look then is a lot different than how he looks now. Like he's aged a lot. And he's doesn't have the curly hair he used to have. But man, I tried with him. I tried. I just was not getting him. Like these don't look anything like Kirk Cameron. That one, and then finally this one's the one I posted. With white balance is blowing it out. That one, I don't know. That one's still rough. I'm not super happy with it, but I think something in his smile I kind of captured. And then today I was doing Phil Robertson from Duck Dynasty. And this one I had the thing again of the first sketch. When I got done, I was like, yeah, that does look like him. That was pretty good. But then I was like, well, it's not a caricature though. It's almost more like a realistic drawing. So then I tried again right here, and this is the one I posted. Like, still, I think I captured him okay. But this one, you can see the nose is really big. The beard's just way out of control. So I feel like that was a better caricature. It's kind of funny too. Until I did this, I didn't realize how Phil, it kind of looks like Osama bin Laden. Like if you don't make sure that's a bandana and not a turban. I don't want to draw Osama bin Laden. I want to draw Phil Robertson. So yeah, these are my daily just caricature sketches. And trying to get back into practicing every single day, making sure I'm not skimping on drawing. All right. I didn't get very much done today, but I'm kind of out of time for now. So thanks for tuning in, a couple watchers. And I will get back at this drawing probably tomorrow if you want to check back. I can't really give a time. I don't know when I'll have a chance. But okay. I'm out. See you later.